Oh man, I thought things were going to help themselves. I thought things were going to help themselves. Really? I am really just disappointed, bro. All considering that there's already progress in that shit. There's already progress, but no, did anything happen when it comes to all that news? No, it hasn't even remotely slowed down one freaking bit. This is a late night here reporting for duty, and I gotta tell you, I am going to make absolutely sure, okay? I'm going to make absolutely sure to keep on getting these flood control project videos on the Philippines delivered to you guys. The reactions that I have on this, and considering that this has to be covered because of the massive damage and casualty count that corrupt officials and politicians are actually showing. It really just needs to get out there. It really just needs to get out there. Absolutely, it needs to get out there. No doubt about it. I'm not going to be the type to like say no to this. No, we're gonna keep going with this thing. And no, don't tell me I cannot. Don't tell me I cannot because I'm not a politician. No, I'm not a politician. But we gotta do what we gotta do to keep this snowball rolling. I am a VTuber. No. I am a virtual YouTuber who watches virtual. No, not exactly a virtual YouTuber who watches virtual YouTubers. I am someone who watches virtual YouTubers. I am someone who games. I am someone who looks at casual shit in life as much as possible, and I make absolutely sure, okay? I make absolutely sure that my reactions, that my emotional charge on this becomes a factor into how these events play out, okay? That's what I've decided. That's what I've absolutely decided. And we're gonna make this all count. Now, we're gonna be doing reactions, like I said, okay? And the Flood Control Projects playlist has increased to 76 videos and might increase the next time we keep doing these reactions. Okay? Today is September 28, 2025. It is morning. And hopefully I don't get distracted in case that there are real life stuff that I'm expected to do. But at the moment, I'm fine. I'm not going to be expected to do too many stuffs today. But all the same, okay? All the freaking same, we are going to make sure that we are in the good. We are good. We are on the good and the good. Okay. I am just going to inspect if my channel is starting to come up. Okay. Give me a give me a moment here. Where am I? Where am I? Ah, okay, good. It's live, so it's good. Something about this doesn't work. Something about yeah, yeah. Something about this. Yeah, something about the actions is definitely not coming around. I'm actually using streamer.bot, okay? So don't know monitored broadcasts? You know, I thought streamer.bot would actually work okay, but apparently it still has its own quirks. Whatever. It's not entirely a big deal, but it's okay. Okay. Well, there's nothing I can do if streamer.bot has a problem. All right, fine. I'm gonna open my stuff then. Give me a moment here. Okay. I thought that I was actually going to need things, but apparently my Discord is not even working. Fine. I'm just going to do fine. Whatever this is okay. Okay. I think that works better. All right. I think that actually works better. I thought there was actually there was actually a need to be concerned. There isn't a need too much to be concerned about things. All right. I guess we're just gonna roll with however we can roll with this. That's fine. All right. So if you'll excuse me, I think we can start. I think we can start the reactions already. Now, as I actually check the playlist right now, the 76 videos that are in here, sure, but apparently there's one unavailable video. Apparently there was a channel that may have deleted that video because it's a little too much for them, and at the same time, it's no longer according to date. Remove when yeah. Then we're gonna refresh this. Now we have 75 dating to 2 weeks ago, up to 2 weeks ago. All right, I have this entirely. I have this entirely sorted by. Let me see. This is sorted. This is sorted by oldest published. Okay, yeah, the oldest published video. That's how it's sorted. So we're going to do this one by one. We're gonna go first for this first video called Marcos creates independent body to probe flood control projects. And that executive order, however, is a little bit a little bit suspicious because the flood control, the infrastructure plans that he wants inspected and checked is from 2015 to 2025, so only a decade. That's what I know about this one. All considering, I actually checked around. And oh boy, why just 10 years? Yeah, he doesn't want his father. He doesn't want people to snoop around to anywhere beyond that. Probably to even to martial law times during his father's reign. Probably. Okay, probably that's how it is. Anyway, here we go.
Radyo Patrol Flash Report!
Magandang hapon, Christian.
Bas na ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang Executive Order 94 na bumubuo sa
Executive Order 94.
Mag-iimbestiga sa mga ebidensya na reklamo.
This is the creation of the ICI.
Ng gobyerno kabilang na ang mga flood control projects. Batay sa EO, bubuuhin ng komisyon ng isang chairperson at 2 miyembro na may competence, integridad at independence sa investigasyon. Hindi lamang limitado sa flood control project ang trabaho ng Independent Commission dahil sakop din ng kanilang mandato na imbestigahan ang anomalya sa iba pang infrastructure projects ng gobyerno. Ayon kay Communications Secretary Dave Gomez, anumang sandali ngayong hapon ay mismong si Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang mag-aanunsyo ng pangalan ng mga bubuo sa komisyon. Abangan ang follow-up report dito lamang sa DZMM Radyo Patrol sa East 30. Yan, ang balitang kumpirmado. Sigurado, ito ang Radyo Patrol. Christian Yosores, DZMM.
Maraming salamat, Christian Yosores.
Basically, Marcos himself is making the appointments possible because he is swift into this, considering that a lot of money has been lost. A lot of money has been lost after this. So, members of the ICI probe. Okay, so ICI chairperson and members take oath. I'm just looking into an article right now, and this is from the pco.gov page itself. So here we go. I'm just looking into it. ICI chairperson and members take oath, begin probe into flood control anomalies. Hours after President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. announced composition of the Independent Commission for Infrastructure on Monday, its chairperson, Justice Andres B. Reyes Jr., and its members, Rogelio L. Singson and Rosana A. Fajardo, took their oath of office before a Court of Appeals, Justice Pedro Corrales. Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong, who will serve as special advisor to the commission, was also present during the ceremony. Marcos appointed individuals of proven competence, integrity, and deep familiarity with infrastructure, finance, and institutional reform. With the oath-taking, the Commission formally begins its mandate to investigate irregularities in infrastructure projects and ensure accountability in the use of public funds. The ICI was tasked to investigate flood control corruption within the last 10 years. So basically, the latter part of the term of Ninoy Aquino himself, the entirety of Rodrigo Duterte's term, and the early parts of Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s term. The ICI is going to investigate between those three presidents to fulfill his mandate. I'll continue. In a press conference earlier today, he emphasized the independent nature of the commission, and he quotes, "In our discussion with them," they also said, maybe we take suggestions, maybe we make proposals as to the procedure for bidding for all these contracts, so these will not be repeated again. And of course, I said, we're perfectly open to that. What we really want is to fix the problem. And I end this quote. The president said he was also very encouraged by his meeting with the ICI chairperson, former Justice Reyes, who said the investigation should result in a fundamental change in the way we do business. It's also going to change the way the DPWH is operating as well. And I think Dizon agrees with Dizon actually agrees with this, considering that there is an absolute need to make sure that this case is sought after and solved before this all goes to hell. Okay, next video I'm going to check out also has been published from 2 weeks ago, titled "Charges Filed versus the Department of Public Works and Highways Personnel and Contractors Tagged in Flood Control Mess." Basically, there are 15 contractors. Here.
The Philippine Public Works Chief files criminal complaints against several contractors and Bulacan District Engineering personnel for their alleged links to anomalous flood control projects. Andrea Taginas reports.
Weeks after the discovery of ghost and substandard flood control projects in Bulacan, Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon has now formally filed multiple criminal cases before the Office of the Ombudsman against those allegedly responsible.
Una po itong kaso na iahain natin ng gobyerno laban sa mga taong involved dito sa pagnanakaw ng pera ng tao. Enough is enough. Kailangan managot na ang mga dapat managot.
Included in the complaint are 20 officials and employees of the Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office, from former District Engineer Henry Alcantara and his assistant DE Bryce Hernandez to unit heads, inspectors, and even the cashier who released payments for projects that were either incomplete or entirely fictitious. Also charged are 5 contractors allegedly involved in the scheme: Sally Santos of Sims Construction Trading, Mark Arevalo of Wawaw Builders, Maria Roma Angeline Rimando of St. Timothy Construction, as well as Sara Discaya, who admitted to being the beneficial owner of the firm during a Senate inquiry.
Oh yeah. That's how bad it became. Every contractor is on the hook for the entire mess. Every single contractor.
And Robert Imperio of IM Construction Corporation. They now face charges of graft and corruption, malversation through falsification of public documents, such as forging the completion papers of the projects, and violations of the Government Procurement Act.
Kanilang naging suggestion at recommendation is mag-file ng mga kaso na pinakamadaling patunayan given the evidence that we have. Non-bailable pa rin po ito.
It's non-bailable and still punishable by life imprisonment. Their suggestion and recommendation is to file cases that are easiest to prove, given the evidence that we have. This is non-bailable, still punishable by life imprisonment. Oh my God. Yeah, their lives are basically over.
Imprisonment pa rin po.
In a separate interview, Dizon said while many of the questionable projects uncovered so far are in Bulacan, the investigation will not stop there. More charges are set to be filed in the coming weeks against other officials and contractors.
Wala tayong sasantuin dito. It's an organized criminal syndicate. That's what this is. Sa district level, regional level, dito sa central office. Imposible kang makakapagpabayad at makakapagpa-accept ng isang project na alam mong ghost.
Yeah, true.
Kung hindi organisado yan mula baba hanggang taas.
The House Committee on Appropriations meanwhile plans to increase the Office of the Ombudsman's budget and capacity for 2026 to help speed up case resolutions.
We want to equip the Office of the Ombudsman for all the new developments, and you're going to play such a critical role in the facilitation and ultimately conviction of the cases that will be filed with regard to in relation to the flood control developments.
Another step being considered by the government, asking the Anti-Money Laundering Council to freeze the assets of those involved. Dizon said he will leave it up to the independent commission formed by Malacanang to conduct a broader investigation into the politicians who are also being implicated in this flood control corruption scandal. Andrea Taguines, ABS-CBN News.
Well, basically, there we go. Basically, there we go. The DPWH personnel from a few weeks ago who were directly involved with misuse of funds. Basically, they were already on the hook for all of this. Give me a moment here, okay? I just need to make sure things are smooth and stuff, but at the same time, yeah. Okay, so I thought there was a need for me to actually check on things. Yeah, it's a good thing there was something I needed to check out. All right. The next video that we have on file, okay, let's see. Yeah, a labor attaché who is on the hook because of these anomalous flood control projects. He's being requested to return to the Philippines. Oh, yeah, that's right. Is this Zaldico? I'm not sure if this is Zaldico, if he is a labor attaché or something. Because Zaldico is part of the House of Representatives, right? He's a lawmaker. Or is this someone else? I'm not sure. We're going to check this out then.
Nakita na ang PTV balita ngayon, ni-recall o pinababalik sa bansa ng Department of Migrant Workers si Los Angeles Labor Attaché Macy Monique Maglanque upang harapin ang investigasyon sa umano ng maanumalyang flood control project. Mapapatid na una nang pinangalana ni Senador Panfilo Lacson si Maglanque na may koneksyon sa MVP Global Properties na sangkot sa mga questionabling proyekto. Kinumpirma ni DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon na tinanggal na sa DPWH
Bryce Hernandez, because he's the whistleblower, he got removed already. Since he's also one of the persons responsible too.
Nila laban sa mga opisyal at contractor na dawit sa maanumalyang flood control projects. Mababatid na sina Hernandez at Mendoza ang nagsiwalat na mayroon umanong ilang mambabatas ang kumukuha ng kickback. Samantala, nagbabala rin si Secretary Dizon na posibleng dumami pa ang mga contractor na kanilang iba blacklist dahil sa mga anomalya. Bukas ang Department of Health sa mungkahi na wag nang isama sa zero balance billing ang mga lumalabag sa batas trapiko. Ayon kay Health Secretary Ted Herbosa, mahigit 13,000 na Pinoy ang nasawi noong 2023.
Bukas sa pong mukha na huwag isama sa zero balance billing mga traffic violators. Wait, Philippines zero balance billing. Hold on. What is this for? Philippines exclusion of traffic violators from zero balance billing. What is that about? Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm just looking at the Google AI itself. Okay. Here is the thing. Here is the thing for that. The Philippine Department of Health announced plans in September 2025 to exclude traffic violators from the zero balance billing policy in public hospitals, which covers hospitalization costs for patients. This proposal aims to promote road safety by holding violators responsible for their injuries, though it faces concerns regarding due process and the universal nature of healthcare. The policy would affect those admitted for injuries sustained due to helmet or seatbelt violations or driving under the influence of alcohol. Here's the thing. If you are a violator yourself, and it is eventually proven that you are an eventual violator anyway, I think this is something. I think this is something that could help make them examples of why you should not get into any accidents and be on a defensive driving stance at every time. My father taught me it is better you become a defensive driver than be involved in any accident whatsoever. So, the zero balance billing policy is a government policy in the Philippines that covers hospitalization costs for patients in public hospitals, meaning they would not have to pay out of pocket for their care. Now, the DOH is considering excluding traffic violators as it promotes road safety. It highlights contributory negligence, suggesting individuals who violate traffic rules and get injured should not be fully covered by the zero balance billing program. Okay. And there are already a high number of injuries that are treated by the DOH just because the DOH knows a significant number of road traffic injuries and deaths, particularly involving motorcycle riders who are often found without helmets. Yeah, if there are already violations, unfortunately, this happens every freaking time. That if there are violators, most of them would be riding two wheels. So, yeah, we can definitely see why. We could definitely see why that they actually decided on it, because it's already going too far. They are abusing the healthcare system. Basically, what these motorists are doing is abuse the healthcare system here. It's something we don't appreciate. It's something that economists don't appreciate on this one. So, critics argue that this policy lacks due process. Some groups argue that zero balance billing should remain universal and not have additional qualifications. It is funded by the taxpayer money. And there are questions about whether the Department of Health has the authority to implement such a policy, as traffic violations are handled by agencies like the Land Transportation Office. Here's the thing. You can link violations to a certain case to include any policy that prevents violators from freely getting healthcare, because first off, it makes absolute sense. If you cause accidents on the road because of your negligence to follow the law, why would you have healthcare work for you so that you could actually start abusing the healthcare system by having them pay for your injuries every time? Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you want the loopholes to do for you? Honestly, I actually agree to it. You should definitely just pay out of pocket for yourself by causing a problem on the road. Absolutely, if you don't have a helmet, that's rule number freaking 1 as a motorcycle rider. Always wear a helmet, no matter what distance you take. No matter what distance, okay? No matter what distance. For Pete's sake, if that's not a law, they already made it one. Especially if you're on national roads. It's a good thing the Department of Health is already thinking hard on this. Seriously, motorists, please help yourselves. Why can't you?
Dahil sa mga pasaway na motorista, naniniwala rin ang kalihim na hindi patas na mabigyan ng benepisyo ang isang traffic violator kung ang katumbas naman nito ay buhay ng maraming pasahero.
Exactly.
Ngayon, pinag-aaralan pa ng DOH ang naturang panukala. Yan ang mga balita sa oras na ito. Para sa iba pang update, i-follow at i-like kami sa aming social media sites at PTVPH.
Right. So PTV Philippines has done a great job when it comes to covering things on political. When it comes to political leanings, I am not the type to lean into something unless there is an agenda. I'm not sure what that agenda is, but I am very much trying to be careful when it comes to Philippine politics. I do not get involved in it because Philippine politics is much, much, much messier than that of the United States. Okay. Anyway, next up, we have a video from Inquirer.net published 2 weeks ago, and it's titled Mendoza and Hernandez to be dismissed over flood control anomalies. We already know this, right? Yeah, pretty much.
The Department of Public Works and Highways is dismissing two Bulacan district engineers amid the ongoing probe into anomalous flood control projects in the country. In a press conference on Friday, September 12, DPWH Chief Vince Dizon says the dismissal orders against former Bulacan 1st District Assistant Engineers JP Mendoza and Bryce Hernandez are now ready. The DPWH earlier filed draft charges before the Ombudsman against Mendoza, Hernandez, and other DPWH employees and contractors. They were charged due to 5 anomalous contracts in Bulacan. The case stemmed from the Internal Audit Services inspection from August 13 to 20. Citing the inspection report, the complaint stated there was a consistent pattern of fraudulent misrepresentation, falsification, collusion, and blatant disregard of Commission on Audit regulations across multiple contracts.
Oh, yep.
In the House Infra Committee hearing on September 9, Hernandez alleged that Senators Jinggoy Estrada and Joel Villanueva asked for a 30% cut from the cost of flood control projects in Bulacan. In the same hearing, Mendoza claimed Villanueva complained about low allocations for flood control projects in Bulacan, citing supposed screenshots of their conversations. Both Estrada and Villanueva have denied the accusations made.
Yeah, of course they're going to keep denying accusations and it's eventually coming out more and more that they have benefited from it. It's an absolute dumpster fire, this entire situation here.
Against them.
So basically, yeah. Next video we have is from the YouTube content creator Money Control, which has more than 180,000 views. This was published 2 weeks ago. The video is titled Filipinos Protest Corruption and Budget Cuts Amid Flood Control Scandal, Philippines Protests. Well, obviously I'm not going to show the footage because that's going to get my channel flagged, but you guys can actually hear the audio.
Hundreds of Filipinos took the streets of Manila today to voice their anger on the government's budget cut, stalled infrastructures project, and a major corruption scandal involving flood control initiative. The peaceful demonstration organized by facility members, student and activist group highlighted widespread frustration with delay in vital public works and allegation of graft that have eroded trust in administration.
Basically, the administration is taking hits on it as well, even if Marcos is making sure that there are actions done against those who are fully responsible. We cannot entirely say that the administration played a part in it when the core members of those who started this entire thing really just began with corrupt officials who got caught gambling and who got caught mishandling the funds. Okay? We cannot fully blame Marcos Jr. for this, but we can be certain that he's trying to protect a part of his credibility. All right? I'm not going to entirely fault him for that, but there are things that we must know about about how he feels and what he is doing to proactively stop graft and corruption at the size of the flood control project scandals that have been happening this year. Okay? We're expecting that much from him.
Days after a television congressional inquiry exposed shocking claims against 2 unnamed senators accused for receiving kickbacks from flood control projects.
Basically, Joel Villanueva and Senator Jinggoy Estrada, which they've denied.
We are calling for transparency and accountability. And it's not just, the blame is not just on the Vizcayas or the 15 or so contractors. We pin the blame on the Marcos Jr. administration itself and even the previous Duterte administration because these contractors, while they are quite shameless, they wouldn't be able to benefit from the stealing of the government coffers without the connivance of government.
In a relevant Senate hearing, several constitutional executives stepped forward to testify, revealing that they were demanded payment equivalent to 20.
Executives demand 25% for contracts, and public funds have been mismanaged. Typhoon risks rise. There it is. Executives. Oh my God. Even contractor executives, especially, people are gonna get sacked for this. Executives are gonna get sacked for this. It is a mess.
5% of project cost as a condition for securing government contracts. These disclosure has intensified scrutiny on how public funds are managed, especially in a country that is very prone to devastating typhoon and floods. The fallout has been swift and severe. The Public Works Secretary resigned amid the mounting allegation and precedent.
Secretary resigns amid the bribery scandal. Hold on, which secretary again?
Typhoon and floods. The fallout has been swift and severe. The Public Works Secretary resigned amid the mounting allegation and President announced the formation of an independent commission to look.
Oh yeah, wait. Dizon was sworn in because of the courtesy resignations at Public Works and Highways. Yeah, now it makes sense. Okay, or maybe it's the last one who had resigned because of the allegations that were mounting and that Dizon was placed in, and then the Independent Probe Commission, the ICI. Okay, yeah, now it makes sense. The wording on this video is a little less chronological because there were still blanks, or probably they were not aware of some of the little things that actually happened in between. But it's fine. The summarization is okay, at least.
Look into this matter thoroughly.
If we just rely on the hearings in Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives, no one will be held accountable. That's why it is up to the people's resistance, the people's movement, to ensure that justice will be served. So the independent commission that's being established by the Marcos Jr. administration, we are maintaining a wait-and-see attitude.
To prevent further misuse of resources, funding for all flood control projects has been temporarily suspended.
Exactly. That is that flood control projects will not be prioritized, and I heard this before I went back into reactions at flood control again. Basically, Marcos is allocating those funds instead for the DPWH and the Department of Health, and it also goes to agricultural purposes too. So, good. At least there is proactive responses to making sure that these are not entirely repeated. But at the same time, it's a good thing he kept promising about the flood control projects that still needs a lot of attention, because sensitive areas need to be sensitive areas. Let's just be real about this. They need to be protected.
A move that has sparked concern about sensitivity during the upcoming rainy season. The scandal has drawn condemnation from unusual alliance of church leaders, former government official and business organizations. In a joint statement, they described the corruption as a betrayal for public trust and warned its dire consequences for a nation rapidly hit by deadly storm.
Yeah, here we go.
Independent inquiry gets underway. The Manila protest serves as a stark reminder of the growing public demand for accountability. With economic pressure and climate threat looming large, Filipinos hope that government will act decisively to build confidence and prioritize essential projects. The event highlights the urgent need of transparency in handling taxpayers' money, ensuring that resources meant to protect communities are not diverted by corrupt practices. We'll bring you more updates on this. Till then, keep watching Money Control.
The summarization of the news from Money Control is actually okay. You know what? I'm gonna give this one a like. I'm going to subscribe to them in case that there are things that we do not see, because there is a need for us to see every perspective possible. Okay, next video that we have on the list is DPWH Chief vows return of stolen flood control funds. This was published by Manila Bulletin 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Next week, pupunta po ako, nag-set po ako ng meeting sa Monday ba? Sa Monday, sa Anti-Money Laundering Council. I will meet with the Anti-Money...
The Anti-Money Laundering Council, basically the AMLC themselves.
Money Laundering Council sa Lunes, para ma-discuss na natin ang possible freezing and later on forfeiture of assets ng mga involved dito sa grabing pagnanakaw.
Audit those who are held responsible to themselves, Dizon. Ask the Commission of Audit to do that, and sack anyone in the Commission of Audit who even thinks of remotely even doing that. That's actually much better.
Ibalik ang pera ng tao dito. Yung bilyon ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ng mga proyekto. Kailangan ibalik yung pera niya. At yan din ang gagawin natin. So lahat ng pa-file natin ng criminal case sa Ombudsman, meron niyang kakambal na proseso para ibalik ang pera ng taong bayan. At yon ang tatlong gagawin natin. Bonds sa kontrata, warranties and security sa kontrata. At third, makikipag-ugnayan tayo sa Anti-Money Laundering Council para sa eventual freezing at forfeiture ng kanilang mga assets para maibalik ang pera ng tao.
A massive lifestyle check has to be established for any corrupt officials who misuse funds.
Bago ko tumanggap ng tanong, ulitin ko, sabi ng Pangulo, bilisan ang pagpa-file ng kaso, siguraduhin maibalik ang pera ng mga kababayan natin. Kung saan tayo dadalhin ng ebidensya, doon tayo pupunta. Wala tayong sasantuhin dito.
Oh yeah.
Kailangan managot at kailangan maibalik ang pera ng ating mga kababayan.
That's right. All right. At least they're being proactive. At least they're being reactive, and then they start to be proactive at the same time. Hopefully they do this okay. Hopefully they do this good. Next one, next video we got protests in Philippines over allegations of corruption in flood control projects. This has been published by the Associated Press, and this has about 70,000 views. Published 2 weeks ago.
Right now, there's also the space to hold the enemies of democracy accountable. People like Duterte, who don't care about human rights and or also involved in corruption. People like Marcos, who destroyed or spread so much misinformation and also turned the blind eye to corruption until it was finally brought to his doorstep that this can't go on. So I think our side, we need to figure out the story we're going to tell. But I think we've caught on to something, and I think right now what's very important is we stand with the people.
Oh my God. All right. We all know that these protests keep going on like this. So yeah. Note. All right. More coming in. We are really just swamping these videos. There are now 68 videos to go, but there might be additional that we could react to. Next one is from Al Jazeera English, and then this video has more than 20,000 views, published 2 weeks ago, titled Philippine Protesters Denounce Corruption in Flood Control Projects.
The week began with a bombshell testimony in Congress by former state-employed engineer implicating politicians, along with photos showing piles of cash purportedly for kickbacks.
Yeah. This has really been alarming for us ever since we have been seeing these types of photos. I mean, look at this. Delivered by Vance. Delivered by the Vance full. The cash that you're seeing right here. Okay? That is so alarming to the point that there has been a blatant misuse of this. And most of this went to gambling. It is disgusting.
That's standard practice in our office. By the weekend, anger at the allegations of widespread corruption in flood control initiatives had spread from largely online to the streets.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has formed an independent commission to investigate alleged corruption in infrastructure projects, but these protesters say they still feel the need to keep up the pressure. They're demanding full accountability, transparency, and participation.
Marcos has described the level of corruption as shocking and institutional, but these protesters say he's also responsible for signing off on bloated budgets.
Every official involved in all forms of corruption should be arrested immediately, should be trialed immediately, no delays, no pauses, and do not rely on technicality. Bongbong Marcos, if you are listening, I advise you to not follow your father's footsteps.
Yeah, listen, don't be rash on the process like this. If you allow chaos, okay, I feel for the protesters here, but if the law becomes rash, if the law becomes so brash, if the law suddenly stops working, and then those who are held responsible and those who seem to be involved in this actually get jailed, there is going to be an absolute riot, and there's going to be an easy overthrow of the Philippine government. It's understandable that the law should work accordingly. Do not let chaos suddenly reign just because of incidences like this. Let the law work out as it should. All right? Try to let the law. Jeez, there are just chaos spewers all over the internet in regards to it, especially when anything that is anti-government comes up. Anything that is an issue of anti-government just comes up like this.
Former president is accused of amassing an estimated $10 billion in looted funds, and his cousin, the Speaker of the House, has been named as one of the politicians benefiting from the scheme.
Romualdez.
But the current president is projecting himself as an anti-graft crusader, exposing substandard and so-called ghost projects. Construction at this site, for instance, only began last month, according to residents. But official documents indicate it had been completed in June 2024. The contract was worth nearly $1.7 million. In a neighboring town, we found people wading through water, despite a newly built wall on the river embankment across from their homes.
They left some parts of the wall open, so naturally, when the water rises, it can still flood our neighborhood.
In July, after successive storms hit the Philippines, prompting questions about the quality of flood prevention infrastructure that cost $10 billion in the last 3 years alone. Now that some of those questions have been answered, these protesters say greed, not flooding, is killing people. Al Jazeera, Manila.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera English. We definitely need different perspectives from different people, from different outlets to see the entire picture of this. Thank goodness I am even seeing outlets outside of the Philippines even reporting accurately, because they got their own local reporters, actually speaking too. All right, so next video, Marcos reveals where budget for flood control will be realigned. As I said before, DOH, Department of Education, and agricultural programs. But let's see if there's more in this one. This is from Inquirer.net, published 12 days ago.
We have canceled all flood control projects for 2026. Those savings, we already put a menu. Kaya para nga, unang-una, kahit na for the budget na sinusulat ngayon, kailangan na maliwanag na mapupunta sa tamang lugar. And so we have made a menu for our legislators to follow and say that all insertions, all changes made can only be made to the benefit of these agencies here. We'll give you this. You can take a picture now, but we will give you a proper image. And they basically cover education, agriculture, health, housing, infra, ICT, labor, social, energy. Pero ibang nature nito. So that is the first step that we are taking.
At least the funding will not go straight to flood control projects that have been proven to actually, well, not go to flood control. The absolute nature of it, just because, right? At least he's taking steps himself to make sure to absolutely have this avoided, because he was not the one who actually did this. The people within department clauses, the people who are working under departments did this, not him. So, thank goodness there's accountability. There's good accountability. All right, GMA Integrated News published this video 12 days ago, which has more than 5,000 views, titled 2 flood control projects in Quezon City that are worth 70 million pesos and 48 million pesos. That means those 2 flood control projects. It was eventually discovered by the local government units that they were not worked on. Oh, they were not worked on to completion. Oh no.
Mahigit 300 flood control projects sa Quezon City na 17 billion pesos ang halaga ang napag-alamang hindi pala idinaan sa lokal na pamahalaan.
Yep.
Yan sa pagsusuri ng
more and more
naman,
permitless. More and more local government permitless flood projects.
At pininturahan lang umano. Saksi, si Maki Pulido.
Painted over but not given structural integrity. What? Oh my God, bro. Rehabilitation of drainage system. Rehabilitation
of Drainage System ang project title ng flood control project para sa kalsadang ito sa Barangay South Triangle, Quezon City.
Nang gamitin ng Quezon City Engineering Department ang Google Earth app, nakita nilang itong sitwasyon sa kalsada noong February 2024.
There is a big difference here. Oh my God. It's not exactly a big difference entirely, but oh my God, bro. Oh my God. Give me a moment here.
Ang Google Earth app, nakita nilang itong sitwasyon sa kalsada noong February 2024.
Look at this. Look at this. There's not much done. There's nothing much done. There's not much difference from the actual. They only painted it over.
Kung kailan dapat nagsimula ang proyekto at Pagkatapos ang mahigit isang taon, September 2025, makikitang ang pinagkaiba lang, may pintura na ang sidewalk.
That's it? Painted over but no structural change? Yeah, these contractors are not only just going to get blacklisted, the executives of those contractors are going to have to get sacked.
Mahigit 70 million pesos ang project cost.
It appears wala talagang ginawa sa ilalim.
70 million.
Ginayang-gaya po.
70 million.
Talagang gayang-gaya po.
For this one.
Ito naman ang rehabilitation of
Now there is a rehab of a drainage system in Barangay Tatalan. Okay then.
drainage system sa Barangay Tatalan.
This one is 48 million.
48 million pesos ang project cost pero pininturahan lang din ang sidewalk.
The one on the left is the former. The one on the right is the new one. Oh, wait, no. I'm not sure which one is the before and after. So give me a moment here.
At pinalitan ang manhole.
Ah, the manhole was changed. Okay then. Oh, now I see. There's a big bulge on the right, and then on the left, it's just okay. Still, that's not significant. That's a very small change to actually make 48 million, and the only thing that was changed was a manhole. That's not even. No. Bro.
Papansinin niyo po yung inlet, kung alam niyo po yung inlet ng drainage, kung saan pumapasok yung tubig, yung pinakasira niya exactly the same po eh. So parang nangyaring drainage system.
Kung ang mga ito may bakas, hindi naman nila mahanap ang 35 flood control project. Sabi ni Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte,
35 flood control projects in Quezon City could not be found. Quezon City. Contractors claim that there are 35 flood control projects and they were not able to be found. So, alarming. This is alarming. Happening in metropolitan cities. Absolutely alarming. Yeah. Fast tracking these types of infrastructure projects has ended as the moment DPWH gets under intense scrutiny. Thank goodness at least there is some action gained from that. There's some action finally that responds to all of this.
I believe those are ghost projects.
Dahil sa patuloy na paghahanap ng City Hall, lumobo na ang bilang at halaga ng mga flood control project na hindi dinaan sa City Hall. Umaabot na ito ngayon sa 331 projects sa halagang 17 billion pesos.
This is absolutely disgusting. Total contract cost 17 billion. They were not utilized for 3 years in QC. Yeah, it's a good thing Dizon is speaking. Take the missing funds back. These contractors are gonna get audited to their cells.
7.7 billion pesos nito mga insertions umano at wala sa National Expenditure Program noong 2024 at 2025.
Ang binigay sa amin ay scope of work lamang o yung general information lang. Hindi isinumite at hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin isinusumite sa amin ang tinatawag na program of works na mas detalyadong impormasyon ang nilalaman.
Kung nagastos lang daw ng tama ang 17 billion pesos, sabi ni Mayor Joy Belmonte, halos na kumpleto na sana ang 24 billion peso drainage master plan ng syudad. O kaya, naipagawa ang higit 5,000 classroom shortage sa Quezon City na kapag patayo ng 350 PhilHealth accredited health centers o kaya'y pabahay para sa halos 1,500 informal settler families.
There are better ways to use those funds. If the only reason you're going to use those funds is for gambling, absolutely, you should definitely be held accountable for those things. Definitely don't use it for gambling. Don't use it for personal lifestyle bullshit. God damn. Stop. Oh my God.
Para sa GMA Integrated News, ako si Maki Pulido, ang inyong saksi.
Mga kapuso, maging una sa saksi. Mag-subscribe sa GMA Integrated News sa YouTube para sa iba't ibang balita.
It is disgusting that this is happening like this, bro. It is disgusting. Contractors are taking away so much value that was supposedly given to the flood control projects. They've taken away so much value just for this. All right, next video that we have right now, this is coming from DZMM Teleradio, and this has been published 12 days ago and has an estimate of 3,000 views. And the video is titled NBI probes 3 fake flood control projects in Bulacan. The National Bureau of Investigation getting involved in this. Scary.
10 minuto makalipas ay kapito ng umaga, iniimbestigahan ng National Bureau of Investigation ang 3 peking flood control project sa Bulacan. Kasunod po ito ng impormasyon sa sumbong sa Pangulo website hinggil sa proyektong nagkakahalaga ng halos 300 milyong piso. Inaalam na ang posibleng sabuatan sa mga peking proyekto, lalo't may opisyal ng DPWH at kontraktor na isinasangkot sa anomalya. Sinabi ni Justice Secretary Jesus Crespin Remulla na posibleng sampahan ng reklamong plunder o malversation ang mga sangkot sa kontrobersya.
Oh boy. Oh boy, plunder. Oh boy, no wonder. No wonder. Okay, so I heard that there was talk about bringing back the death penalty in some circles. This is not even directly related to the flood control projects, but it is absolutely being associated with flood control. Why? Because the possibility that one gets the death penalty after being charged with plunder is significantly high, especially if, and I definitely don't want this to happen, the death penalty is going to limit international recognition because we are under a strict adherence to international law because we have made agreements in 2007, We have made agreements in 2007 and made it law that we are not to use the death penalty. Okay, let's try to put this into perspective by actually getting the context for this. Okay, so stand by. Okay, context. The Philippines has strictly adhered to not pursuing the death penalty since November 20, 2007, when it ratified the second optional protocol in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or ICCPR-OP2. A treaty that commits member states to the permanent abolition of the death penalty. This ratification created a binding international legal obligation for the Philippines to refrain from reintroducing capital punishment, making any future reinstatement of a violation of international law. So there is an international treaty that is recognized with this. The Philippines' commitment stems from its ratification of the ICCPR-OP2, which aims for the complete abolition of the death penalty. There is a binding obligation. As a state party to the protocol, the Philippines has a legal obligation to abolish capital punishment within its borders, an obligation that is absolute and cannot be withdrawn. The Philippines did not make any reservations at the time of the ratification, such as one allowing execution in times of war, further solidifying its commitment to complete abolition. The abolition of the death penalty in the Philippines aligns with the global trend of abolition and the fundamental human right to life. I just need to reflect. Okay, my father did not like this idea of abolishing death penalty almost permanently. Now, why is that? Let's just be real. Us Filipinos can get stupid when it comes to money, when it comes to usage of money, when it comes to usage of funds, but it should never come to the point that we, as a people, should be deprived of life. Absolutely, those who are absolutely misusing funds to the point of you getting charged with plunder, you deserve to have your name, your legacy, and your existence stripped, but not life. Considering there is a need for absolute accountability and an absolute betterment to leadership and policy in the Philippines. This is why the death penalty in the first place was abolished. Now, there is talk in regards to the current situation. There is only talk about trying to bring the death penalty back just because there are charges being filed against corrupt officials with plunder. Those are very, very absolutely very humongous charges that could result to life imprisonment and the stripping of the entirety of the assets that you gained from the graft and corruption. So yeah, this is a big deal. And hopefully the talk of bringing back the death penalty just because of plunder cases, they get extinguished. Because we deserve to learn better from our mistakes. We deserve to learn better from our mistakes. The Philippines is not a huge country to begin with. And most of us learn pretty quick to actually not do the horrible shit again. Some people just want to stay stubborn, however, and just do whatever they please. Thing is, we can learn quickly from this. Which is why I don't believe the death penalty abolition should be removed. Definitely, the abolition should stay. The death penalty abolition should stay. It should not go anywhere. Death penalty should remain abolished. Absolutely, it should remain abolished.
We just validated the information of 3 ghost projects that they found within the coordinates given in the Isumbong Mo Kay Pangulo website. Ando na yung 3 coordinates of 3 ghost projects, so they're just tying up the loose ends so that we can file a case on that.
Nauna na ipina-blacklist ng DPWH ang Wawaw Builders dahil sa sinasabing peking proyekto sa Bulacan na nagkakahalaga ng 95 million pesos. Idineklarang nakumpleto ang proyekto noong June 2024 pero natuklasang tuloy pa rin ang konstruksyon na nagsimula noong nakarang. Bukod sa Wawaw, perpetually blacklisted na rin ang Sims Construction na isinasangkot sa isa pang peking proyekto sa bayan ng Baliwag. Natuklasang wala pa itinatayong istruktura kahit may katagang completed.
Yeah. Don't mark any of them as completed if they're not completed. Of course, everyone's going to question the report, especially if there are calamities that are happening. I made it clear to send a comment over just to make sure that they understand my case, my absolute place with this. Because let's just be real, I absolutely hate the fact that this is happening. So yeah, it's just had to happen like this. Okay, there is a video that I have here, but I will not play it because I don't think there's any need to repeat that particular topic. Okay, let's add some more. Hold on. Let's add some more to the queue. Give me a moment here. Next video that we're watching is titled DPWH Secretary ICI Special Advisor dismayed over substandard flood control project in La Union. This is a video from ABS-CBN News which has more than 7,000 views and was published 11 days ago.
The special advisor to the Independent Commission on Infrastructure joins the Philippine Public Works Chief at an inspection of substandard flood control projects. The 2 officials discovered multiple defects and non-existent work at several project sites in La Union Province. Andrea Taguines has this story.
Philippine Public Works
Yeah,
Secretary.
more and more of these projects keep getting discovered the more this is looked into. Dizon keeps always getting a field day with these things. The number of visits that he makes just to make absolutely sure to point out that you as a contractor should never mark a project as significant or complete without stating the fact that there is a very big problem with the project. It is not complete, and it is not doing as it should. You as a contractor should be audited to yourselves, bro. Oh my god, this is so... Oh my god, this is such a piece... Oh my god. Oh, dude. Oh my god. This is unacceptable, bro. No, dude, the landfill, basically the gathering of soil. Did you see that? Did you see the gathering of soil just right there? That's unacceptable, bro. It's like everything is still under construction and still. Oh my god, bro, this is. Why is this allowing to? Why is this allowed? Oh my god, bro.
Vince Dizon couldn't help but vent his frustration after seeing what he described as substandard materials used on this dike in Bawang La Union Tuesday morning. Instead of being embedded in the ground, the weep holes or the pipes meant to release water pressure from inside the structure were simply hung like ornaments.
Yeah, hung like ornaments to simulate that they are real and that they are dug into the ground, but no. That's not that is not the purpose of those things. They're only hung there for decoration. They're only hung there for decorations, for Pete's sake. Look at these. Look at these. Okay? Look at these. Look at these. Look at these. What the hell? What the hell, bro? These contractors are making us look stupid. Absolutely stupid, bro.
Embedded in the ground, the weep holes or the pipes meant to release water pressure from inside the structure were simply hung like ornaments.
Sinabi nga nung structural engineer.
The structural engineer said that those weep holes should be 2 meters long, and they should extend all the way going inside. It's shameless. As you can see, It's just for optics.
The first project inspected by Baguio Mayor Benjamin Magalong ever since his appointment as advisor to the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or ICI, which is tasked to probe irregularities in public works in the past decade. Magalong noticed other red flags, like the thin reinforcement bars and their uneven placement.
Yeah, the reinforcement bars are sticking out, are really just sticking out. It is just, look at this shit, dude. Look at this shit. I'm going to slow down the playback speed so that you guys understand the problems we're having on this thing. Look at this. The reinforcement bars are actually the surface. It's in the surface right here. It's so bad, bro. Look at these reinforcement bars. They're sticking out here, thinking that they're going to be, the contractors think that they're not going to be used anymore, so they just left them there. It is shameful as hell, bro. It is very, very shameful as hell. What is it, bro?
Area as a crime scene. Kaya kailangan talaga rito magkaroon tayo ng forensics. Ano?
The project foreman was no help either.
Pati nga ng plano. Wala kayong plano. Wala kayong engineering plan.
Let me see the plan. You don't have a plan. Excuse me, what? There are no engineering plans for this particular one. Then why the hell start with this? What are the engineering plans for if not to do these projects in the first place? What kind of process is being done here? What the fuck? You don't have an engineering plan. How are you building this? Are you just shooting in the dark? Exactly. How is this being formed? Are they just winging it? This is disgusting. They're just winging it. From some hand-drawn design or something. No engineering plans whatsoever. It is a dike, for Pete's sake. It is a dike. What the hell?
According to Magalong, they will gather all information from the visit as basis for possible cases against those responsible for the project. According to DPWH records, this project was declared complete on March 16, 2025. But the foreman also admitted that they only started patching the concrete that same month.
They only started to patch the concrete that same month. It means they were not given order. They were not even given orders up to that point. They were not given significant orders, such as the patching of concrete, only up to that point. The contractors should definitely be audited to their cells. I am saying it again and again and again. If I have to, they should be audited to their cells.
And up to now, you can still see some steel bars sticking out, and some segments have yet to be cemented.
Look at this is what she's saying. These bars are sticking out like this. It's just, it does not become a beneficial tool to stop or slow down floods if it is incomplete.
Silver Wolves Construction Corporation is listed as the contractor for 2 dike segments with a total cost of nearly 200 million pesos.
This is it.
He still has to check whether this
Silver Wolves. That's how much it was given to them, and it was never fully utilized with this.
Project has already been paid.
Hindi gagastos ng kahit na isa pang sentimo ang gobyerno dito. Silang may kontrata dito, ayusin nila to. Sarili nilang pera. Pero, hiwagay pa yun sa mga kasong ipa-file.
That's separate from the cases that will be filed. They got to return the money. If they can't do this, their contractor is just going to have to return the money. And there will be cases filed against them because it's been discovered that the entire project is unfinished. So, just because they're fixing it, it does not mean there will be no case. There will still be a case. There will absolutely still be a case. But I don't think Silver Wolves is going to do that. I think they're going to run for it. I think they're just going to stop, and they're just going to stop and say fuck all, and then they're just going to dissolve their firm. I think that's what's going to happen. They're just going to dissolve their firm and run off like the useless dogs they are.
Hindi porket aayusin nila, walang kaso, hindi ganoon yan.
Kung hindi nila tinuloy talaga yan, talagang bahang-baha kami dito. Nasisira mga pananim namin, bahay namin.
Yeah, our crops and our homes will be destroyed without anything to control the flood. Yeah.
The ICI will also verify Senator Panfilo Lacson's claim that many Silver Wolves projects in La Union were funded through congressional insertions in the 2024 budget.
Congressional insertion. There is more and more evidence, okay? There is more and more evidence that the ones who started inserting these, the lawmakers, are definitely they're gonna get more probed than this now, okay? Oh my God, this is it is such a big mess, bro. It is such a big mess, dude. They should not have misplaced. They should not have misused and misplaced those funds. It is turning up as a very ugly venture. It is turning up as a very ugly venture for contractors like this. The next video comes from WION, World is One Network, and they've published this video 9 days ago, and it garnered 160,000 views ever since. And it's titled, Philippine Government Admits 70% of flood funds lost in corruption. That's just how bad this is.
Anti-corruption protests sweeping across Asia after demonstrations in Indonesia forced legislative reform, and last week's uprising toppled the Nepalese government. The wave has now reached the Philippines. In Manila, citizens are demanding answers as to why billions of pesos spent on roads, bridges, flood embankments have failed to protect the country from the devastating flood. Outraged Filipinos turned to social media, creating AI videos of lawmakers as crocodiles, a potent local symbol of greed.
Oh my god! The crocodiles have come. Wait, I want her to state that again, okay? Okay, because I have this thing, it's from Idacorp, okay? Hold on. Let me just get that shit. Let me just get that shit first before doing anything. Okay, I'm just gonna remove one of the videos. Okay, I'm just gonna show that video because, yeah, it makes sense that I should show that video. Okay.
Outraged Filipinos turned to social media, creating AI videos of lawmakers as crocodiles, a potent local symbol of greed.
That makes sense, actually. Look at this.
Mga kasama, may bagyo na naman. Papaldo na naman tayo sa flood control project. Sakto, kailan ako nang bumili ng bagong Ford Raptor, yung may payong. Tapos na ba yan? Boss, patapos na po. Ayos. Bilyon na naman kikitain ko nito. Salamat, taxpayers!
It is that bad that they're actually that Filipinos make sure to make it absolutely clear that this is a mainstream thing that's absolutely happening, that's even dropping memes in social media now. These flood control projects are an absolute mess. It is an absolute mess. And it's not going to slow down anytime soon as long as these issues still exist.
Much of the criticism is directed at the privileged children of politicians, according to them, and also to the contractor, who they allege have lavish lifestyles on display online, fueling the resentment. The president has confronted the crisis during a recent inspection of what was supposed to be a flood control dam, but discovered the project did not exist. His own economic planning minister admitted that as much as 70% of public funds earmarked for flood control had been lost to corruption. This Sunday, thousands are expected to gather in a massive rally, the day carrying symbolic weight as well. It marks the anniversary of the 1972 declaration of martial law by Ferdinand Marcos Sr., the president's late father, whose decades-long rule ended after anti-corruption protests drove him from power in 1986.
Yep. There it is.
Last week, Miss Philippines Earth 2025 openly challenged the political establishment. She claimed public funds were lost to in a major flood prevention project, reportedly involving around 20
Miss Philippines, social injustice equals environmental injustice.
lawmakers and officials in a country regularly struck by deadly typhoons. She said this money could have saved lives and protected families.
Thank God I am seeing different perspectives on the flood control project. That even Miss Philippines herself is voicing her concerns on this. This is amazing. This is amazing. Okay? It's really good. Basically, part 1 is already uploaded, but I haven't actually published it yet. Part 2, I'm going to get them rendered. This is part 3. What we're doing right now, this session in particular of reacting for flood control projects, this is part 3. So what exactly are we expecting? Episodic publishing of these videos on my YouTube channel. It will be in a playlist. The flood control projects are getting, the news around that in the Philippines is ramping up. Protests keep happening. Or maybe they are not happening right now because they got to get to work or something like that. But still, news about this keeps piling on. And thank goodness I am actually tracking these. So yeah, this is actually a good thing. Anyways, just make sure you guys are actually sticking on it because there are more reactions to flood control projects. I will be adding more videos on my playlist, on my unlisted playlist. I'm going to make sure that I keep going on it. Right now there's 61 videos. I might actually add more the more the news develops on this one. So everyone who is absolutely involved in the flood control project, who have misused funds, who have received kickbacks from this, they're all going to be held accountable. Contractors should be audited to yourself. And I hope that lawmakers and senators learn from this experience
to not be a part of a problem that is already systemic. This is a systemic problem. Don't make it a bigger one by being part of the problem.